Hello viewers, here is a Bionaire or Bionaire or whatever the heck it is, 16-inch oscillating fan. Very strange fan. I found a 12-inch model like this a year or two ago locally. Never seen anything like it before. It's model BT-116. And this control set is really what's making it quite odd. You can see over there the 12-inch one. Let's see, can I peep the model number without walking over there? Almost. Looks like 112. So I tend to think that it probably is the same series. Everything looks the same except for the blade. See, there's the blade on this one, which looks like it's a matching blade. This blade, I don't know. Maybe it's not the original, because it's like, doesn't seem quite right. So I have my speculations that the blade isn't correct. It's definitely the same fan, 12-inch and 16-inch. This blade I tend to think is correct. So I don't know what the deal is with that. I could see that cap being original because it's the same color and it's kind of yellowed like everything else is. Wouldn't be the first time I've seen a mismatching cap like that, so maybe it is the original blade. I don't know. I've never seen another one of these, so I don't know. Maybe somebody else has. It's starting to warp a bit, unfortunately. But it's not too bad yet. I don't think it'll interfere with the way it's operating too much. This probably was stored in a hot attic or sat near a window. You can see this is severely yellowed. Plastic is kind of screwed up there. I don't know if it's just not installed correctly or if it warped and shrunk or something weird like that. This came about kind of oddly. I had purchased a Hampton Bay St. Clair from somebody on the e-ripoff, and it was one of those seemingly unusual cases where the seller was actually very good. And inherently I had bought something from them before. I did notice that it said seller you bought from, or whatever it says, when I was doing the payment, but I didn't recognize the username, and I have no idea what it was that I purchased from them before. And it must have been quite some time ago, because I haven't really been using that site at all. For the last year or two I've really kind of gotten away from it. But the seller recognized me, and they wrote me a message, and they said, you know, we're about 3 hours away, do you want to arrange to do a pickup, you know, because shipping a ceiling fan is risky and expensive. And I said, nah, it's not worth the drive time, just ship it. And so they did, and they packed it very nicely, and it arrived correctly. They also sent me, well, in that same message they said, you know, I got a bunch of fans here that I'm going to be listing. And that would actually, that was why they offered to do the pickup thing, because they said if you wanted to buy, you know, a bunch of fans and then do the pickup and save hundreds of dollars on shipping, that was why they offered that. So I took a look at some of the other items they had, and a lot of it was newer junk, but they had this. And since the 12-inch model is so obscure and it seems pretty decent, I had to have the 16-inch one. I paid probably more than it retailed for, but that's what it is. There's one other fan that person listed. It was it's still there, I think, a Hampton Bay Littleton from like the early 2000s era, and I'm looking for one of those. They want, I think, 50 beans for it, which is a lot of money for one of those. That's way more than what they retail for. But, you know, it's not getting any easier to find those, so I don't know. Anyways, so that's how this one came about. I guess these must be older because the plug is not polarized. It's got kind of an interesting logo on there. Almost kind of looks like a set of blades. Can you focus? Hey, focus. As they say, patience is a virtue. There we go. That's what the plug will look like. I think it's got some paint on there. Looks like an ugly color that somebody would paint a wall in more recent times. And it's not polarized, so probably at least dates back to the 90s. The blade is pretty much solid. It looks like it's kind of become cloudy. It looks like at some point it might have been a little bit translucent. Maybe. It's not really at all translucent anymore. I can't really see anything through it. It's definitely not white like the other one is, and it's not the same shape either, so I don't know. I don't know what the deal is with this thing. Maybe somebody who's seen it. I feel like, Tori, you would know, if anybody knows. Is this blade original? Hopefully somebody has seen one of these and tell me. Alright, let's take a look at this thing. Oh, the voltage is high. It's 123.7. Okay, so, well, maybe it's not. I think this kilowatts meter is a bit jacked up because it's saying that we're getting 0.11 amps here, but it ain't running, so there's no way. 0 watts, so something's a little bit cockamamie here. Maybe I should get a different. The other one that I usually use is upstairs. I think that one's a little bit more accurate. Anyways, I'll turn the oscillations off, and we'll go ahead and start it up on the low. And it's rated for 0.75 amps. Actually, the power draw should give us a good idea as to whether or not the blade is original. If it's right around 0.75, I'd be more inclined to believe that the blade is original. So it looks like it's up to speed now. We're at 0.30 amps, or so it claims. 37, 34, stable 34 watts, and a power factor of 0.93. I'm so sure I believe that kilowatts meter. But it's moving a decent amount of air, and the other one I recall being pretty powerful. So this one seems like it as well. It's really well balanced, in fact. It's not too bad. It's not perfect, but it's decent. It's very kind of loose on there. Oh jeez. That's not good. It's sitting on the guard. Huh. How are you supposed to adjust the I don't know how you're supposed to adjust the tilt angle then if you can't move it by the, you know, not quite understanding that. And if I loosen it with the screwdriver, it still isn't really. I don't know what's going on here. We'll take a peep at that some other time. Let's see if the oscillations work. Slowed down a bit. I can tell the oscillation mechanisms are very stiff, so it's going to need to be lubricated for sure. Yeah, they're really stiff. That's not a problem with the gearbox, that's just a problem with it being too stiff. stiff. Okay, no point in running that on oscillations anymore. Okay, let's go up to the 2 for the medium. Okay, decent increase in speed. This is 0.35 amps, 41 watts, and a power factor of 0.93. It's moving good air. It seems like it's going along at a reasonable speed. Now it's starting to vibrate a little bit. Perhaps it's more out of balance than I initially thought it was. No, it doesn't feel that bad. Here's the high, which is 0.43 amps. If this thing is believable, I don't know if it is. 47 watts, 48 watts, and a power factor of 0.90. So 0.43 is a fair bit below 0.75. It's not going to do it. It's too stiff. That's an easy fix though. It's moving a decent amount of air. Seems like it's running plenty fast. But it's definitely not drawing as much power as it claims to. It's strong. It's nowhere near like Glasgow territory. You know, like the 2016 or something like that. Nowhere's near that. But, you know, it's okay. Relatively quiet. Let's go ahead and off it. The bearings seem pretty free still. Bearings were pretty free on the other one too. I don't really know much about this brand. I don't know if they were supposed to be decent or not. I've heard of them over the years, but I never really had any of their products until this. Alright, so the bearings are pretty good still. Well, it's an interesting fan for sure. Very unique switch design. I'm not sure if the blade is original. I tend to think it is. It just looks a little bit odd, you know. A little odd.